Assalamu alaikum dear students. I am your biology teacher and in this video I am going to summarize my today's Zoom online lecture for you. So in this lecture we have discussed about biotechnology. Uh, Dear students, biotechnology is not a new term for you people, as you are already familiar with it because you have studied it in class 9th unit number 1 in branches of biology. You know that biotechnology is the branch of biology which deals with the use of living organism or their products for the welfare of human beings. So it is a branch in which we use living organism for our own benefit or their products. Uh, Dear students, if we look at biotechnology, it might seems like a new branch of biology, but if we look at its practices, it is not new for human beings. Human beings from the prehistoric time, they are using different types of living organism for their own benefit. Like human plants their own crops and they breed their own animals, and even they are making or forming yogurt from the milk. So these all are simple form of biotechnology, because in all these practices we are utilizing different type of living organism or their product for our own benefit. Nowadays biotechnology is a very vast field, and it have a lot of applications in different fields such as industries, agriculture, medicines and environment. So biotechnology play an important role in these fields. For example, in industries, vinegar is formed with the help of biotechnology. Coffee is formed with the help of fermentation process. Similarly, linen, cloth, which it is also formed with the help of biotechnology. In agriculture, there are a lot of different application of biotechnology. Like nowadays, we have a lot of GM crops, genetically modified crops, in which the yield is increased, in which the disease resistant ability of the plant is increased with the help of biotechnology. Similarly, in the health sector, in the medicines, different types of drugs are formed with the help of with the help of biotechnology. You all might be familiar with insulin, a wonder drug which is used for the diabetic patient. So it is also formed with the help of biotechnology. Similarly, in the sector of the environment or in the field of environment, there are various applications of biotechnology. There are various different techniques by which we can decrease the pollution. Similarly, for the waste disposal, there are different techniques of biotechnology. Okay, there's a technique of biotechnology which is called fermentation, and today we are going to discuss this fermentation. The term fermentation is used for two concepts. The one concept is, you are familiar with it, a type of cellular respiration, which you have studied in class 9. So it is a type of cellular respiration, a type of anaerobic respiration, right? And the second meaning of this term is, it is a technique which is used in modern biotechnology. ठीक है? सो बेसिकली दोनों चीज़ें एक ही हैं. फर्मेंटेशन बेसिकली एनएरोबिक रिस्पायरेशन है, लेकिन फर्मेंटेशन बाज़ हम एक टेक्निक को भी कहते हैं जिसमें बेसिकली एनएरोबिक रिस्पायरेशन हो रही होती है. So fermentation, it is anaerobic respiration, and as you know, anaerobic respiration is the type of respiration which occurs in the absence of oxygen. It means no oxygen is required for this type of respiration. In this process, glucose is oxidized incompletely and a little amount of energy is released. So it is incomplete breakdown of food molecule and less amount of energy is released in this process. And on the basis of end product, there are two types of anaerobic respiration, or there are two types of fermentation. That is alcoholic fermentation and lactic acid fermentation. The type of fermentation in which the end product is alcohol and carbon dioxide, such type of fermentation is called alcoholic fermentation. It occurs in yeast. You know, yeast is a microorganism which biological name is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. It is used in making of alcoholic product, ethanol, fuel and bread. Alcoholic fermentation is actually a two-step process, and in this fermentation the glucose molecule is first broken down into two molecules of pyruvic acid. This is basically glycolysis. Glycolysis means uh, breakdown of carbohydrate, breakdown of glucose. So in the first step, the glucose molecule, which you know, which have 6 carbon, it is broken down and two molecules of pyruvic acid are formed. Pyruvic acid is a 3 carbon compound. In this process, 2 ATP molecules are used. As a result of this process, 4 ATP molecules are produced. So it means that we have a net gain of 2 ATP molecules. While in the next step is simply reduction process, in which the pyruvic acid is further broken down into carbon dioxide and ethanol, but with the addition of hydrogen. Hydrogen is added in this process and carbon dioxide gas is liberated. As you can see in the reaction over here, glucose molecule, which is a 6 carbon compound, it is broken down into two molecules of pyruvic acid, pyruate, which is basically a 3 carbon compound. In this process, NAD plus, which is a coenzyme, it received the hydrogen and it is converted into NADH, and meanwhile ADP along with phosphate, it enters the reaction, and as a result of the reaction ATP is formed. Then in the second step, the pyruvate molecule is converted into ethanol, which is a 2 carbon compound, and carbon dioxide, and meanwhile in this process NADH also provides its hydrogen, and again it is converted into NAD. The hydrogen is received by ethanol. Okay, so the next type of fermentation is lactic acid fermentation. Lactic acid fermentation, as the name indicates, the end product is lactic acid. The type of fermentation or the type of anaerobic respiration in which the end product is lactic acid, such type of fermentation is called lactic acid fermentation. And this type of fermentation takes place in microorganism, that is bacteria. It also takes place in our skeletal muscle during exercise, whenever there is less supply of oxygen. So in our muscle cells also lactic acid fermentation takes place, but not all the time, just during exercise. Okay, this type of fermentation is used in the production of different dairy products like yogurt, cheese, etc. Lactic acid fermentation is also a two-step process, and the first step is, it is again similar to alcoholic fermentation, that is glycolysis. In this first step, the glucose molecule will be broken down and two molecules of pyruvic acid will be formed. While in the second step, pyruvic acid is changed into lactic acid by the addition of hydrogen. No carbon dioxide gas will be formed here, as pyruvic acid is a 3 carbon compound and lactic acid as well is a 3 carbon compound. So no carbon dioxide will be released here. As you can see in the reaction, glucose is first converted into 2-pyruvic acid, and in this process NAD receive the hydrogen, converted into NADH, and also ATP is formed. And in the next reaction, pyruvic acid is converted into lactic acid, and this is simply reduction reaction in which the pyruvic acid receive hydrogen from the NADH. Okay, the practical use of this lactic acid fermentation is actually in the process of yogurt formation. Uh, yogurt is produced by fermentation of milk. Milk is fermented and it is converted into yogurt. So for this process, milk is first inoculated with a starter culture. So actually we add some bacteria in that milk in the form of yogurt, which usually contain Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophiles. Then these bacteria start anaerobic respiration in the milk. As a result, they convert the lactose, which is a natural carbohydrate present in the milk, they convert the lactose into lactic acid. And as a result of production of lactic acid, milk protein coagulate and it form yogurt. And there are a lot of different other products which are formed as a result of fermentation process, like alcohol, yogurt, bread, cheese, pickles, soy sauce, chocolate, and different types of chemical product. First one, alcohol. Alcohol is made as a result of fermentation of natural source of sugar with a catalyst, which is usually yeast. Actually, in this process, in the formation of alcohol, yeast is used, and you know that yeast is a microorganism which can do anaerobic respiration, which can do alcoholic fermentation. So with any natural source of sugar, like we can use rice, we can use wheat grains, we can use different types of fruits, etc., which have naturally some sugar. Sugar means carbohydrate, and the yeast act upon that sugar and convert that by the process of alcoholic fermentation into alcohol. Then during fermentation, the carbohydrates are the main source which are converted into carbon dioxide and ethyl alcohol, and these carbohydrates are present in grains and in fruits, etc., from which we form alcohol, and this alcohol is widely used in medicines. The next product is yogurt. Yogurt, as we have already discussed it, that it is produced as a result of fermentation of milk by bacteria. And when bacteria ferment the milk, actually the bacteria start anaerobic respiration, but that is lactic acid fermentation in the milk. Milk have all naturally a carbohydrate that is termed as lactose. So bacteria convert the lactose uh, into the lactic acid, and as lactic acid is formed in the milk, so its pH is decreased, and as a result, the milk is converted into yogurt because the milk proteins start coagulating. Okay, bread is also one of the product which is formed as a result of fermentation. Wheat dough is fermented to make bread. You all are familiar with bread, that we can add yeast in wheat dough, as a result of which bread is formed. Cheese is also one of the dairy product, and it is formed when bacteria converts milk lactose into lactic acid, due to which milk protein is also coagulated and milk is converted into cheese. Pickles are also formed as a result of fermentation of vegetables and different types of fruits. Soy sauce is also one of the product of fermentation, and it is made by fermentation of soybeans by fungi. Chocolate is also produced as a result of fermentation. Cacao, cacao beans are fermented, and as a result of which chocolate is formed. Then there are different types of chemical products like ethylene, acetic acid, glycerol, formic acid, etc., which are also produced as a result of fermentation. So that was all about today's lecture. Thank you so much.